My fault. I just wanted to make you a video where I kind of show you some different stuff in Valorant and how to play more like fundamentally right. Um, One thing you do a lot if is let's
Here.
say that this house is like the bomb site and this
Here.
is where the attackers come from, like here. What you do a lot is you will just go out there to check, right? What would be cool to see you start doing instead is to start jump spotting, and it's hard, but that's why I'm making you this video to show you how. What you do, right, is you walk at the corner with W, like at an angle, and then you just jump, and then use A and S to limit how long you're shown for, right? I'm not very good at it, but the better you get and the more you do it, the more broken jump peeking is. It basically makes it so the enemies have no chance to shoot you at all. Meanwhile, you get to see where they are for free, basically, right? You can always pair it up with like a peek. So let's say I saw someone right here in my jump spot. You can always pair it up with a peek like that. And sometimes you will get free kills like that. Another thing I want to start talking about is you have to have like 3 different mentalities for how you want to move around the map, right? When you know that there's no one around and you just want to get from a bomb site to another bomb site to help your team, most often you don't want to go through the enemy spawn. So let's say over here is where the enemies spawn, and we spawn like over here, and there's a bomb site here, and you need to get all the way over to this bomb site. What I see you do a lot is you would go like through the whole bomb site into their spawn and then move on like that. What I would like you to do instead a lot of the times is to simply just kind of back off and make your way safely to the other side, because there's so many agents that are made for catching you off guard when you go through their spawn with all of their utility. Sometimes you can, but I'd advise against it unless you're followed or following someone. Now another thing, peeking in this game, a lot of the time I will see you do this, which is not too bad. I do the same sometimes. But it's also not very good, because what you're doing is you're using W and A, right? And it makes it feel better when you walk around. It feels very smooth. But it also makes you slower because you're walking forwards and sideways. Meanwhile, you walk a lot faster just walking forward, and a lot faster just walking sideways. Because you're not moving like a diagonal, you're walking straight. So when you peak angles, I want you to start using W more. And D. No, or I mean A and D. No W. No S. Just straight W and A. I mean A and D. If you want to try something out, you can go to your controls, right? And then you remove W. You go to equipment, and you put drop equipped item to W. Now every time you accidentally try to press W, let's say you want to peek this corner and you want to use W, you can't really. It'll make it super annoying to move around the map, but it will also make you very good at using your W and A, or A and D to peek your corners. I wouldn't advise doing it, but if you want to try it to see how addicted you are to W, you can give it a go. But yeah, A and D are very important. W and S you'd want to use before you peek the corner to kind of put yourself in the right angle. You see, if I'm all the way back here, it's going to be so awkward peeking this angle with A and D. So I kind of want to put myself in a position where I can use A and D to peek at full speed with without using W and S. If you know someone is right here and they know where you are, you don't want to shift peek it. That's super slow. You want to aim at them through the wall and just follow them. So let's say I know this thing is here. You learn to know where things are through walls. That's just something you learn with the map. You know how to always aim at stuff through the walls.
Here.
And it's a very good thing because then you don't need to sneak or follow the corner. Following a corner is sometimes very well. Or a very good thing if you don't know where they are or they're holding off angles. But if you know where someone is, through the wall and then plow them. Usually the best way to go about it. The last thing, shooting. When it comes to gunplay and recoil. In this game, your first bullet will always, like, you can see that circle. Pretty sure. Never mind, that's just where the bullet hits. But in this game, there's like an inaccuracy when you move or shoot. But we can put shooting error on. Shooting error is the box up here. When I move while shooting, it spikes like crazy, right? If I stand still, it's like only a small thing. That's the orange one. And the reason it's so small is because the inaccuracy isn't very big. You can see it's only 0.25. That's what the Vandals where does it show it? Oh yeah, first shot spread. So this is the degrees it can like move out from where you're shooting. Some have better. The operator has 0 spread if you're zoomed in. Same goes for all the other here. That's really good. But you can see it if you no scope with an op. It goes very far out from where you're aiming. They also get more accurate if you ADS other weapons, but as you know, it's slow so fast you shoot. The longer you're into a spray, the more inaccurate you get. This is your spread plus the recoil, so there will always be a recoil pattern, right? You can see this. I could shoot this like 100 times and it will always make somewhat a 7. It's going to be a slightly different 7 each time. That is due to spread. Spread makes it so that the pattern will always be slightly random. So what you want to try is learn the pattern but in reverse, right? So if it goes up and to the right, then more to the right, and then left. You want to go down and to the left, a bit more left, and then right. It'll take some time, but it's honestly just shooting at a wall or something like this, where you can crash. You can always turn on this dummy to test out different weapons. in the head with headshots. Test out different weapons. See how much damage they do. It's important to know how much damage your weapon does, right? It's something like the Phantom. Great gun, one shots, still one shots, but suddenly it's only 140. And that's something that's very important to learn. That if your teammate doesn't call out damage on the enemy, and you have a Phantom, you might have to get close or hit more than one bullet. Even though it is slightly more accurate, the Vandal does more damage, which is why I prefer it. You don't need to. The recoil is harder, but for me, because I use the Vandal so much, the Phantom recoil is actually harder for me because I really don't use this gun. So it's really all preference. There's no like this is 100% the best gun to use. In pro play, they use both for different scenarios. If they know they're gonna be playing in like a spot like inside this boathouse here, where there's no one who's gonna be peeking from far away, they'll use the Phantom like 90% of the time. Less noise, less recoil, more bullets, and a one shot still. It's just a better choice. As you know, the operator, you know, will always one shot body shot, unless you're shooting through a wall. See if I can, yeah, 88 because it was through a wall. Most of these, well, all of the snipers, one shot in the head. Well, that wasn't a headshot, but the Deagle will only do 145 on long range. It isn't super long range. If you're close enough, it will, like at 30 meters, it will one shot. I wanted to show you the Bucky. It has two fire modes, right? It basically, it has one that you can use for all distances, close and short, and then it has one that's kind of only for short. Does not really do a lot of damage. It's like a very weird range, because you have to, you see where it explodes right there? It's like shooting like a little canister, like a slug. Not even like a slug. But if you're not exactly in that range, right? Just like 10-meter range, you won't do any damage. See here, I do the same. It's 40. You have to let it explode, else there's no point in using it. And you might as well just left click. The Stinger also has one. When you ADS, it bursts. Just a few bullets at a time, just 4. There's no other sidearms except the classic. You can right click. Right clicking at far distances is a bit of hit or miss. The Bulldog does the same as the Stinger, with 3 bullets instead of 4. Other than that, there's no other guns. The Judge has no ADS. But yeah, I'd suggest you start trying out the recoil patterns with different guns. See if you can learn them or get better at controlling them. Sidearms don't really have like a recoil pattern. It's more like a different spread each time, and then with a cooldown time. It's important to know this cooldown time. The Sheriff is kind of like the Staying Alive song, you know, like staying alive. That's about its recoil time. And that actually comes from Counter-Strike. Some nerd found out that the deagle in that game's reset time was exactly to the beat of Staying Alive. But yeah, that's what you kind of want to go after. I would I will now show you some tips and tricks for Sage. On Sage, you have your 4 abilities, your 3 purchasable abilities. I showed you a cool trick with the Sage Wall the other time. What you can do is you see how I'm moving it like this? Whereas you would only use C. You can click down, mouse 2, so right click, and then move your mouse to find a perfect spot. This makes it so you don't have to peek as much. You can kind of just, you know, rotate it on the fly and then put it in there. It takes some time learning. Another thing you can always do is, let's say this is an enemy Sage Wall and we want to be a little bit funky. We don't want to break it. We get our team to line up here, and then we get them all up, right? So we can rise ourselves up with them. We can use it as a mobility tool. Now we have a slow, right? The slow is usually good for comboing. So let's say we know there's someone in here, we can kind of bounce it here, and we just slowed a huge portion of in here. And if anyone wants to move, they're gonna have to make sound. Now imagine you're playing with someone who's playing race, right? You slow this, and then bam, they throw a nade. These people are guaranteed to be at least low on health. They might not die, but they're guaranteed to be at least low on health. It's a really strong tool to combo with. If you're ever in a 1v1, you have the bomb planted like here, and you know you can be seen from here before here, so you'd rather want to hold this and not this. You can slow this. If he sneaks, I think enemies still make sound if they sneak. Even if they don't, he's gonna be so slow that you can wait it out. You can even combo it. You can wall here, flow here. Now you don't have to look here, and if he peeks you here, his head is gonna be moving so slow that it's gonna be way easier for you to hit. Now for your heal. Her healer is changed so that it only heals herself 30 damage or 30 health. So it's not really that big of a heal. That's less than a Vandal bullet, which is kind of awful. But for teammates, it heals incredibly fast and all the way to max health, right? Your ult. If you're in a situation where you feel like you need one more player to like get a chance to win, you should use it. If you feel you're in a situation where you're pretty confident you're gonna win, you can still use it. Like in a 3v4, you have 4 people versus 3. Why not res? That's a guaranteed round basically. Or it's gonna be some points. Like you can see it takes 8 points, right? But it's still 8 points for a guaranteed round win. I mean, it's pretty sweet. You can save it, but if you're never gonna use it, then why bother? Like, yes, you might not get it back, but you won't get it back either later. If you decide to save it, because it's 8 points. It's an expensive ult. It's a trade-off for expensive ults, definitely. For Viper, you're getting better at Viper, way better. I suggest going Phantom more often, because the Phantom, when you shoot through smokes, doesn't leave tracers. You see this tracer you can see flying through the air? The Phantom doesn't do that. The enemies can't see that, whereas the Vandal does. So when you do this, they don't know where they're getting shot from. The same goes for your wall and your ult. let's go back to this boat house here. Let's say you do this, and then like here, you have like pretty much the whole first area covered off, and everyone is vulnerable. You pair that up with a race grenade again, they're dead. They're gonna take double damage. If they're not dead, and let's say you can see how this is wall bangable because of the dark spots, you can start wall banging them. They're gonna take so much damage, even though it's through a wall because of your molly. Your ult, just play far back in it. Let's say the enemies are gonna have to come from here. This is kind of a bad example, but you can see how this is still in it. The enemies are gonna have to get all the way through here and into here. You'll have teammates in here that make sure you don't get killed. Meanwhile, all the enemies are low HP because they're going through your ult. And your teammates are gonna get easier kills. You just need to play safe. You can drop your ult by pressing down the button for the ult again. So your for you it would be X. You could be holding X down to lower your ult. That's pretty much it, I think. If there's anything more you want me to show you in this game, you can tell me and I would gladly make another video for you. I love you.